What happened was in my career, I was always very spiritual in a way. You know, I believed in God and especially Jesus Christ. And when I was young, I'm Catholic family. I made my communion and my confirmation and all that. But what I had noticed since I was a young child, that there was a prejudice toward Puerto Ricans, and I was very aware of all these things. So, but I followed American music because it was popular and it was very big on the radio. The Spanish radio didn't have all that much, they had some. And I used to listen to all these programs, and I used to buy a book called The Hit Parade. The Hit Parade is a book with all the popular songs of the time. So I used to know all the songs and get the lyrics. One day I went coming home on the train with my father on a very cold night in New York off the subway, and we get off on Prospect Avenue, and by that time I'm living on Longwood Avenue. We had moved there, and my mother had passed away. My mother had been the one that used to push for me to keep singing because she felt that I had talent. I used to sing by myself in the house, hidden. When she would say, "Canta para esta gente," I say, "Oh no, not me, I can't do it." I was very shy. So she'd say, "Vete al cuarto y canta, y aquí te escuchamos." So I would do that. But the point is that I was really involved in that, and I would go by the Hit Parade. One day, getting off the subway on a very cold winter day, I stopped in the corner where they sold the papers and magazines and things, and I see the Hit Parade there. Then I see next to it a black magazine with songs for the black population. And I said to myself, well, why? I didn't understand the separation at that time. And I said, why is there not one for the Puerto Rican people and the Hispanics? And I made a petition to God. And I said, God, if I ever get the opportunity, I would like to represent the Puerto Ricans and Hispanics through music. And that's what got me into that, to get into music, Spanish music. And I forgot about it because the most important thing at that time, I was 11 years old, was to be the kid on the street playing stickball and hitting a home run. So I went home and I played stickball and focused on that until I was, how old? Until 1950 actually. Because 1950 is when the mambo came to New York and the United States. So the biggest population here were the Puerto Ricans. And that being the case, I went to all the house parties. I would ask the guys, we would meet on the stickball field. The stickball players were a very important group because they were organized little groups of young teenagers. And they were the first groups of people that got together to make dances, social dances like the Hunts Point Palace. There was a team that we used to play against. I was always the captain of the team, by the way. I was always the leader. And we played a team called the Sparks, a very important group of stickball players. And there were many in the Bronx, in different areas, in Jackson Avenue, Prospect Lawn with Kelly, mucho. But we played for money. Everything's a money game. Todo, handball money, todo de dinero. So I played that and got very good. By 1950, I was a great little guy playing stickball. Pero cuando salió el mambo, forget about it. Yo le metí mano al baile for a year. From 1950 to 1951, I was dancing, and I used to get myself invited to all the parties. Y yo llevaba los discos, the 78s. Y da la casualidad que on the corner, I lived on Dawson Street and Longwood Avenue. And across the street from my house, había una tienda que se llama Casa Puente, a record store. El tío de Tito Puente. Yeah. So I bought all my records there. And I would go to the next block, Kelly Street. There was two candy stores. Y da la casualidad que on the left side of the block there, on Longwood and Kelly, there's a candy store, and the owner of the candy store is Eddie Palmieri's father, and Charlie Palmieri's father. Yep. And I used to go there and dance, in the evenings or lunch and whatever. And so el ambiente was growing, and we used to play on the mailboxes con los palitos y cantar y cosas así. Se me metió from 1950 to 51 la fiebre. Y un día estoy escuchando un disco en un radio y yo le digo a un muchacho que está conmigo, yo le digo, what is that sound? It excites me a lot. He says, it's a cowbell. I went to a music store called Bronx Music Store in the Bronx and bought a cowbell. And after that day, I used to chase all the wagons that had cowbells on them because they used to be the ones who collected the garbage and the stuff y venían y arreglaban la sombrilla y, yeah. So I used to get all those cowbells and buy them for $1, $2. And that's what got me started to learn to want to play the timbales. 1951. So what I did, having the mentality of a young child, because I was still a teenager and a young child, I said, well, you know what, I want to play, but I don't know how to play, and nobody's going to hire me. So I'll get my friends that play around like that and make a band. 1951, I started. I got a friend of mine called Manny Quintana, que murió ya. He was the conga player, and myself. That was the beginning.
So who